Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. So I've done an infinity swipe previously using a blue colour palette, but this time I'm going to use the same colour palette and do an open cup pour. I'm excited to see how it turns out and to see the details that we can create within that piece. So I'm so glad you're here with me. Let's see what we can create. Okay, so this is the same colour palette as the infinity swipe piece that you saw before. If you've not yet seen that video, then check it out. It's a recent video. But I'm using exactly the same colours, but to create a different design using a different technique. So I'm just going to put some paint on the base. That's going to help with the flow of the piece. I'm going to stretch it out slightly just so it's got a bit more coverage on the canvas before adding my cookie cutter on top, and my cookie cutter is going to be my open cup. And then the idea is to just use that cookie cutter, fill the cookie cutter up with some paint and allow the paint to escape from the bottom of the cup through the paint that we've just layered on the canvas. So I've prepped my canvas, the puddle of paint is down, I've used my blowtorch to get rid of all the air bubbles, and I'm just going to take one colour at a time and pour that paint into the cookie cutter. So as you can see, I've started with my white, I'm going to go for a bit of gold as well, and then the blue and the turquoise colours on top. And I'm going to repeat that process until the cookie cutter has enough volume of paint within it, and then I'm going to release the paint from the cookie cutter just to see what kind of patterns can be made. Okay, so I think we've got enough in there for now. I'm just going to pick it up just to make sure that the cookie cutter does flow and isn't stuck to the surface. There we go. So it does move. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cookie cutter, pick it up, and drop it back into the paint. And by doing that, I'm releasing the paint from the bottom of the cookie cutter. So that paint is now immersed in that puddle of paint that we've already layered. So I'm going to do exactly the same again. I'm going to take my colours one by one, pour those colours into the cookie cutter, and then release the paint from the cookie cutter by picking it up, not fully from the canvas, but allowing a gap between the connection between the bottom of the cookie cutter and the canvas and paint itself. Okay, so one more time, I'm going to add some more paint into the cookie cutter, release the paint, and then there's going to be more than enough paint in terms of volume on the canvas to remove the cookie cutter and stretch the design out across the canvas. Okay, so I've removed the cookie cutter, but I'm just getting my palette knife. I don't want that blob of gold in the middle because that will just turn into a bigger blob of gold when I go to stretch it out. So I'm just using my palette knife to add a little design in the middle. So we've got enough volume of paint on the canvas. I'm going to use my blowtorch to get rid of any of the air bubbles. And then what I'll do before we stretch this out, I'm going to take you in just so you can have a look at the pattern that's already been created. So here we go. Underneath all that paint in the middle is more and more paint that we've already layered. So when we stretch out this design, and the colour that you see now is going to completely change, because what we want to do is, by stretching out this paint and this canvas, is we want to reveal the paint that's already underneath. So let's do that process. I'm literally going to pick up my canvas and go in a circular motion, round and round, just tipping it slightly, tilting the canvas slightly, and you can see that the paint that was underneath is now being revealed more on top. That's because we're stretching out that paint. There's no other base colour, it's completely dry on the canvas. Therefore, when you tilt the paint out, it's going to stick to the canvas and reveal the other colours and the other volume of paint that's on top. I've just popped some more air bubbles because I've seen some more, so I want to pop those before fully stretching. And then I'm going to take the canvas and tilt that paint over the edges and down the sides. And then I'll move the paint back on itself. So I bring the paint back onto the canvas and move it to another area that I want to tilt. And I do that until the full surface area of that canvas is covered. So here we go. I've managed to cover the full surface area. Any gaps that you do have on your edges, just bring some of the paint that you've dropped onto the table and just touch up the edges whilst it's wet. I love how that gold is popping through, and I really do actually love how there's different tones of colour that have been made by using the colours that we've poured into our open cup. It really does give me an ocean vibe. It almost makes me feel like I want to go on holiday. I can see the ocean, I can see the sands in this piece. But I'm actually not sure whether it's complete. Do I just leave it as it is? Or do I embellish it a little bit more? So that's the question for you guys. Help me out. Let me know what you think. Should I leave it as it is, or should I embellish it? So as you can see, it's now fully dry. I'm not going to seal this with varnish just yet because I want your feedback and I want your input. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read all the comments, I'm going to read all the input, and then what I'll do is I will revisit this piece if you think I need to embellish it a little bit more or do something a little bit different. Or if we're happy with how it is, then that's good too. But I'm really undecided on this, so I definitely need your help. I do love the colours that I've used, so there's no regrets there. But maybe it's just missing just a little bit of embellishment. I don't know. Let me know what you think, as I said, in the comments below. But I just want to say a big thank you for joining me today. I hope I get to see you again soon in the next video, and have a great week ahead. Let me know what you think. Take care of yourselves. See you soon. Bye.